For millions of years, our planet has carried secrets beneath its surface. Every layer of rock, every fragment of fossil, every frozen bubble of air is a page in a book written not by humans, but by time itself. And yet, as scientists dig deeper, they are beginning to uncover something unexpected, something that doesn't fit. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff. Beneath your feet lies a record of Earth's history, stacked in layers of stone. Each layer is a silent witness to an era, to ancient oceans, vanished forests, and creatures that no longer walk the earth. Most of these stories are incomplete, torn pages missing from the book of life. But sometimes, what remains is so strange, it raises more questions than it answers. In rocks more than 65 million years old, researchers discovered microscopic spheres made of rare metals. To the untrained eye, they look like grains of dust. But under the microscope, they reveal something far more disturbing. Their chemical signature matches the fallout left behind by nuclear weapons tests, the very same pattern we humans have created in the past century. But here's the impossible part. Those layers are ancient. They formed long before the first human ever walked the earth, long before our species even existed. For centuries, we've believed a comforting story, that humanity is the first and only technological civilization our planet has ever known, that only we have split the atom, forged metals, burned fossil fuels, and altered the very air we breathe. But what if that story is incomplete? What if Earth has been home to civilizations long forgotten? Societies that mastered science and technology, reached heights we can barely imagine, and then disappeared, leaving behind only faint whispers in stone, ice, and DNA. If a single asteroid impact 65 million years ago left such an unmistakable scar in the rocks, then what scars might a civilization like ours leave behind after it vanishes? Would the Earth keep their memory for millions of years? And are we just now beginning to notice the evidence? Tonight, on Astron Pulse, we will travel through deep time. We will revisit the greatest mysteries of Earth's geological record, explore the possibility of ancient nuclear wars, uncover traces of synthetic materials older than humanity itself, and even question whether some civilizations reached the stars before disappearing into silence. This is more than science. It is a journey into the unknown, into the hidden chapters of Earth's past. Because if civilizations have risen and fallen before us, we must ask, what does that mean for our future? Prepare yourself. The answers may change everything you thought you knew about who we are and where we come from.
Our story begins in the rolling hills of central Italy in the year 1980. Imagine walking along a quiet cliffside. The rocks beneath your feet formed from sediments that have lain undisturbed for tens of millions of years. Among the limestone layers, a geologist named Walter Alvarez, working alongside his father Luis Alvarez, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist, notices something unusual. Hidden within a narrow band of clay that marks the boundary between the Cretaceous and Paleogene periods, he discovers levels of iridium nearly 30 times higher than normal. Iridium is a strange element. On Earth's surface, it is vanishingly rare, yet it is abundant in asteroids. To find such an excess precisely at the layer where the dinosaurs disappeared was no coincidence. The Alvarez team proposed a radical idea: 65 million years ago, an asteroid struck our planet with unimaginable force. The skies darkened, plants died, ecosystems collapsed, and with them, the age of dinosaurs came to a fiery end. At first, the idea seemed almost unbelievable, but soon evidence poured in. Around the globe, in layers of the same age, scientists found the same iridium spike, a planetary fingerprint of catastrophe. Later, the discovery of the massive Chicxulub crater in Mexico confirmed it. Our story begins in the rolling hills of central Italy in the year 1980. Imagine walking along a quiet cliffside. The rocks beneath your feet formed from sediments that have lain undisturbed for tens of millions of years. Among the limestone layers, a geologist named Walter Alvarez, working alongside his father Luis Alvarez, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist, notices something unusual. Hidden within a narrow band of clay that marks the boundary between the Cretaceous and Paleogene periods, he discovers levels of iridium nearly 30 times higher than normal. Iridium is a strange element. On Earth's surface, it is vanishingly rare, yet it is abundant in asteroids. To find such an excess precisely at the layer where the dinosaurs disappeared was no coincidence. The Alvarez team proposed a radical idea. 65 million years ago, an asteroid struck our planet with unimaginable force. The skies darkened, plants died, ecosystems collapsed, and with them, the age of dinosaurs came to a fiery end. At first, the idea seemed almost unbelievable, but soon evidence poured in. Around the globe, in layers of the same age, scientists found the same iridium spike, a planetary fingerprint of catastrophe. Later, the discovery of the massive Chicxulub crater in Mexico confirmed it. Earth remembers its traumas. This was a revelation. If a single asteroid impact could leave an indelible mark after 65 million years, then perhaps other catastrophic events might also be preserved. But this realization led to an unsettling question. If natural disasters leave such clear scars, what about civilizations? If another advanced species had risen before us, would their technology, their energy use, their weapons, their industry have left behind similar traces? And if so, are those traces still waiting for us in the rock beneath our feet?
The discovery of ancient iridium layers was just the beginning. In 2018, two scientists, Gavin Schmidt from NASA and astrophysicist Adam Frank, posed a question so radical it shook the foundations of how we think about history. What if industrial civilizations had risen and fallen on Earth long before humans ever appeared? They called it the Silurian Hypothesis, borrowing its name from an old science fiction story. In that tale, intelligent reptilian beings, the so-called Silurians, thrived hundreds of millions of years before us, only to vanish without a trace. It might sound like pure imagination, but when we look closer at our planet's geological record, the question becomes disturbingly plausible. Earth is ancient, more than 4.5 billion years old. Human civilization, from our first cities to our modern technologies, has existed for only a few thousand years, a single heartbeat in geological time. To put this in perspective, if Earth's history were a single day, the entire span of human civilization would appear in just the final seconds before midnight. What happened during the billions of years before us? Could entire civilizations have risen, built cities, harnessed energy, and then disappeared so completely that their memory survived only as chemical whispers in the rocks? Geologists have discovered strange anomalies, spikes in carbon isotopes, layers of elements like iridium and plutonium that do not naturally occur in such concentrations, and sudden collapses of ecosystems with no clear explanation.
Scientists know that natural cataclysms, volcanic eruptions, supernovae, asteroid strikes can leave their scars in the crust.
But some of these signals look oddly artificial. They mirror the very same environmental fingerprints our own industrial revolution has begun to leave behind. If civilizations existed long before us, their cities are gone, their monuments have eroded, their machines have rusted into dust. But the Earth itself may be the historian that remembers them, storing the evidence of their rise and fall in the deepest pages of its geological diary. The Silurian Hypothesis is not just a question about the past, it is a challenge to the present. Can we learn from the echoes of forgotten civilizations, or are we destined to follow them into silence? When we open the book of Earth's history, we expect to find a steady story, a slow unfolding of life, page after page, from simple beginnings to complex forms. But the reality is far stranger. For billions of years, our planet's oceans were home only to simple, microscopic organisms, tiny bacteria and algae quietly working, shaping the chemistry of the seas and the air, hidden from the naked eye. The story seems almost uneventful until, suddenly, the pages of the book explode with life. This moment is known as the Cambrian explosion. Roughly 540 million years ago, the fossil record transforms almost overnight. Creatures with eyes, shells, limbs, and complex bodies appear seemingly out of nowhere. Trilobites crawl across the seafloor, bizarre spiny predators swim through the water, and ecosystems grow more diverse than ever before. For paleontologists, this is one of the greatest puzzles of all time. Evolution is supposed to be gradual, a slow, steady accumulation of changes across millions of generations. But here, it looks as if someone flipped a cosmic switch, and suddenly, the Earth was alive with complexity. Was it purely nature? Or was something, or someone, guiding this sudden leap forward? Some researchers argue that we are simply missing the earlier pages. Fossilization is rare. Soft-bodied organisms decay before they can leave lasting traces in stone. Entire worlds of ancient life may have existed, evolved, and vanished without leaving a mark. But others aren't convinced. The timing, the precision, the abruptness, it all feels too sharp, too organized, too deliberate. And if the Cambrian explosion was not an accident of nature, then perhaps it was an intervention, a moment when life itself was rewritten, not by natural selection, but by an intelligence with the power to engineer biology at the deepest level. The question remains, is the Cambrian explosion just a natural miracle, or is it one of the first visible echoes of an ancient civilization hidden in the fossil record of deep time? The Cambrian explosion is only the beginning. As scientists turn the pages of Earth's fossil record, they encounter not just one gap, but many. Time and again, life seems to follow the same strange rhythm, long periods of relative stability where species change slowly, suddenly broken by rapid bursts of innovation. Entire groups of animals vanish, and new ones take their place almost instantly in geological terms. Think about it. One moment, the oceans are filled with trilobites, corals, and primitive fish. Then, within a sliver of deep time, those species are gone, replaced by entirely new life forms with different body plans, new organs, new ways of surviving. It is as if the world itself is pressing a reset button. Traditional explanations focus on preservation bias. Perhaps the fossils of transitional species were destroyed, never fossilized, or remain undiscovered. Perhaps volcanic eruptions or climate shifts created sudden opportunities for new life to flourish. These are real factors, and yet the patterns remain unsettling. The
The changes often line up with sudden shifts in Earth's atmosphere and chemistry. Massive surges of carbon dioxide, abrupt increases in oxygen, mysterious chemical anomalies that don't fit with slow, natural cycles. To some, these sharp transitions look like accidents of geology. To others, they look like industrial signatures, the kind of environmental shocks you'd expect if an advanced civilization consumed vast amounts of energy, altered the air, and then vanished into the silence of deep time. And here lies the chilling thought. What if these gaps in the fossil record are not empty at all? What if they are the graves of entire civilizations, their works erased by time, their legacies reduced to chemical traces in stone and ice? If that is true, then the Cambrian explosion might not just mark the rise of new life, it might also mark the shadow of something older, a civilization that once thrived, altered the planet, and then disappeared into the silence of deep time. The Earth has been many worlds. Oceans have dried and returned. Continents have drifted and collided. Species have risen and fallen. But perhaps, hidden in these missing pages, is a secret we are only beginning to glimpse, that intelligence itself may not be unique, but cyclical. And if civilizations before us have already walked this path, reached their peak and fallen into ruin, then we must ask, what destroyed them? And are we repeating their story right now?
Every civilization leaves behind a signature. Buildings may crumble, monuments may erode, but chemistry endures. To a geologist, the Earth is not silent. It speaks through ratios of isotopes, through layers of ash, through trapped bubbles of ancient air in the ice. And when we learn to listen, we begin to hear whispers that sound eerily like industry. Consider carbon isotopes. When humans burn fossil fuels, we release carbon that has been buried for millions of years. This ancient carbon carries a distinct fingerprint, a lighter isotope ratio that scientists can detect in the atmosphere. Today, this signal is unmistakable. The chemical scar of our industrial revolution is etched into the air, the oceans, and the soil. But here is the mystery. When researchers study ancient rock layers, they sometimes find sudden, sharp shifts in these very same carbon isotope ratios. It is as if, long before humanity, something, or someone, pumped massive amounts of carbon into the skies. Some explanations point to volcanoes. Super eruptions can pour carbon dioxide into the atmosphere on colossal scales. Others blame methane released from frozen oceans or asteroid impacts that destabilize the environment. These are powerful natural processes, and yet the patterns feel hauntingly familiar. In certain layers, the spike is too sudden, the rise is too steep. The stabilization afterward looks less like recovery from disaster and more like the end of a machine age, a time when something consumed fuels, released greenhouse gases, and then, as if overnight, disappeared. These chemical echoes buried in the rock challenge us with an unsettling question. Are we looking at the scars of geology or the footprints of forgotten civilizations?
If rocks preserve the language of chemistry, then the atmosphere itself is a library of memory. In the ice of Antarctica and Greenland, scientists drilled deep cores, cylinders of frozen history stretching back hundreds of thousands of years. Each trapped bubble of air is a time capsule, a sample of Earth's atmosphere from ages long gone. What they find is astonishing. At certain points, concentrations of greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, rise suddenly and dramatically. These spikes last for thousands of years before falling back to baseline levels. To natural scientists, these may be linked to feedback loops in climate systems. But the regularity, the precision, the systematic nature of the changes hint at something more. They look almost engineered. Imagine a civilization harnessing fossil fuels, changing its air, reshaping its skies. Imagine its power plants, its cities, its machines, and then imagine it gone. What would remain? Not the cities, not the machines, but the chemical scars in the air itself, scars that ice would preserve like a frozen obituary. Even stranger, some ice layers contain traces of synthetic compounds, molecules that do not occur naturally and which are resistant to breakdown. Today, our plastics, refrigerants, and industrial chemicals are entering the air at record levels. But what if others had done this before? What if the air we breathe carries the fingerprints of civilizations erased millions of years ago? The atmosphere does not lie. It records every great fire, every volcanic ash cloud, every burst of industrial smoke. It remembers more than stone, more than fossils. It is a silent witness to everything that has ever breathed, burned, or built on this planet. The question is no longer whether the atmosphere holds memories, but whether we are wise enough to recognize which memories are natural and which belong to civilizations long lost.
In 1972, deep in the African nation of Gabon, French scientists studying a uranium mine stumbled upon a discovery that seemed impossible. The uranium ore they tested did not look normal. Its isotope ratios revealed something shocking. The material had already undergone sustained nuclear chain reactions 2 billion years ago. This was the site of the Oklo natural reactors, places where uranium deposits, water, and geology had combined in just the right way to ignite nuclear fission without human intervention. For hundreds of thousands of years, these natural reactors burned, producing radioactive byproducts just like a modern power plant. When news spread, many could not believe it. How could nuclear reactions occur in nature? But Oklo proved it. Under rare and specific conditions, the Earth itself can run a nuclear reactor. But here's where the story takes a darker turn. The Oklo site taught scientists something important. Nuclear activity leaves unmistakable chemical signatures in the geological record. Radioactive isotopes, once formed, persist for billions of years. They are impossible to erase. Armed with this knowledge, researchers began looking elsewhere. What they found has fueled one of the most unsettling debates in science. In uranium deposits in Kazakhstan, in ancient rocks in South Africa, even in Greenland's ice cores, they found isotope ratios that did not match natural reactors. Instead, they matched something else entirely: the byproducts of nuclear weapons testing. The rocks were millions of years old. The ice cores predated human civilization. And yet, the chemical fingerprints looked exactly like the fallout clouds from the mid-20th century. The conclusion was inescapable. Either we have misunderstood these isotopes, or Earth once bore witness to nuclear technology long before humanity appeared.
If Oklo proved that nuclear scars can last for billions of years, then what else might we find in the rocks beneath our feet? Core samples from around the world revealed disturbing clues. In some layers, isotopes like plutonium-244 and cesium-135 appear in concentrations too high, too precise, too localized to be explained by natural causes. These isotopes are not found in nature. They can only be created in reactors or weapons. Even more disturbing, their presence often aligns with times of mass extinction. In sediments marking the Permian-Triassic boundary 252 million years ago, the event known as the Great Dying, when over 90% of Earth's species perished, scientists have found isotope patterns eerily similar to modern nuclear fallout. Could ancient warfare have played a role in wiping the planet clean? The same signatures appear in other extinction layers, scattered across millions of years. It is as if, again and again, civilizations rose to the power of the atom, only to vanish in fire. And yet the evidence grows stranger still. Some isotopes discovered in these rocks are not just products of nuclear fission, they are products of technologies we ourselves have not yet mastered. Reactions that require conditions more advanced than anything achieved in human reactors. It is almost as if we are not the most advanced civilization Earth has hosted, but only the latest to walk a dangerous path. Every radioactive scar tells the same story. The Earth remembers. Nuclear shadows cannot be erased. And in its memory, there are hints that humanity may not be the first species to split the atom, or to destroy itself with it.
If nuclear isotopes are the scars of fire, then synthetic materials are the ghosts of industry. Unlike stone or bone, these materials are not natural. They are crafted, engineered, and designed to endure. Today, we know that the most enduring legacy of human civilization may not be our skyscrapers or our satellites or even our books. It may be something far more humble: plastic. Plastic, with its near indestructibility, will outlast our cities, our cultures, and perhaps even our species. Long after our monuments crumble, microscopic plastic particles will remain, locked into sediments and drifting across oceans. Millions of years from now, they will form a sharp line in the rock record, a chemical banner marking the age of humanity. But here's the mystery: they may not be the first. Sediment cores from the deepest oceans contain strange fragments, long thought to be unusual minerals. Under advanced microscopes, however, some of these fragments reveal structures identical to synthetic polymers in layers that predate humanity by millions of years. They are smooth, resistant to natural decay, and contain chemical bonds that should not form without industrial intervention. To the naked eye, they are unremarkable, but chemically, they are impossible to explain. If these materials are what they seem, engineered polymers, then they tell a story more extraordinary than we ever imagined. A story of civilizations that discovered chemistry, built plastics, spread them across the globe, and then disappeared, leaving only invisible fragments of their existence behind. Ghosts in the sand, ghosts in the stone, silent reminders that technology leaves traces even when history forgets.
Plastics may be familiar, but some synthetic traces found in Earth's geological record are far stranger. In ancient rock formations in Australia, scientists discovered deposits that looked at first like weathered minerals, but closer study revealed something extraordinary. Their molecular structures were too organized, too complex to be natural. They resembled advanced composites, materials engineered for durability, strength, and resistance. Even more astonishing, some fragments show designs beyond human capability. Their chemical bonds are optimized in ways our own materials science cannot yet replicate.
Stronger than steel, more resilient than modern plastics, these substances seem tailored for survival against time itself. And survive they have. For millions of years they lay buried, untouched, resisting heat, pressure, and decay. Whatever civilization created them knew how to make materials that could endure longer than memory. What were they used for? Construction? Tools? Machines? We may never know. All that remains are fragments, scattered, broken, stripped of context. But in their resilience, they tell us something important. Civilizations may vanish, their cities erased, their cultures forgotten, but materials endure. The ghost of a factory may be nothing more than a single fragment of synthetic polymer embedded in rock. Yet that fragment is enough to whisper, "We were here." And the Earth has heard that whisper more than once. If our plastics will one day become the fossilized signature of the Anthropocene, then perhaps these impossible materials are the fossilized signatures of civilizations long past. Their ghosts are scattered beneath our feet, waiting for us to listen.
Every civilization, no matter how advanced, must breathe. And in breathing, in consuming energy, burning fuel, and reshaping its world, it changes the air above it. For modern humanity, this signature is unmistakable. Since the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, the amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere has risen by more than 40%. Methane and nitrous oxide levels have surged as well. Future scientists will find these changes easily, preserved in ice cores, sediments, and soils. But what about the past? When scientists drill into the ice of Antarctica and Greenland, they find air trapped for hundreds of thousands of years. In some layers, the chemical story is shocking. Sudden, sharp spikes in greenhouse gases, lasting for millennia, then fading back to normal. To climate scientists, these patterns resemble feedback loops, perhaps triggered by volcanoes or shifts in ocean currents. But others note something uncanny. These gas spikes mirror exactly what we see today, in the age of fossil fuels and industry. It is as if another civilization, long before us, consumed massive amounts of energy, flooded its skies with greenhouse gases, and then vanished. Even stranger, some layers contain molecules that don't occur in nature. Synthetic compounds with long lifespans, the same kinds of substances humanity now releases through refrigerants and industrial chemicals. If these molecules truly predate us, then they are not just geological oddities. They are the fingerprints of industry, an alien industry, one that came and went millions of years before our own. The skies remember. They always remember. And in their memory, we may be glimpsing the outlines of civilizations erased from history. But what if some civilizations went beyond simply burning fuels? What if they learned to engineer the climate itself? Today, humanity debates geoengineering, scattering aerosols into the upper atmosphere to reflect sunlight, altering rainfall patterns, even attempting to control global temperatures. These are ideas of tomorrow. But the Earth's rocks and skies suggest they may be echoes of yesterday. Sediment layers from millions of years ago show chemical traces of aerosols deployed on planetary scales. Their distribution is too regular, too global, too uniform to be volcanic. Instead, they look deliberate, like the controlled hand of engineers reshaping the climate. Other records reveal strange synthetic greenhouse gases,
molecular structures optimized to trap heat with extraordinary efficiency. They are so effective, in fact, that they appear almost designed, not by chance, but by knowledge. And then there are signs of failure. Some atmospheric records show rapid rises in these gases, followed by equally rapid collapses, as if civilizations experimented with planetary engineering only to retreat when consequences spiraled out of control. Imagine a species so advanced it could paint the skies to its liking. Imagine it stabilizing its climate against natural ice ages, holding its world in balance for millennia. And then imagine that civilization gone, leaving only thin chemical fingerprints in the heavens as proof it ever existed. The skies above us may be more than weather, more than atmosphere. They may be a palimpsest, a canvas rewritten again and again by civilizations who dared to alter their planet and paid the price. The question is not just whether others once rewrote the sky. The question is whether humanity, too, will join them in leaving its own brief, fragile story written in air.
Antarctica, a frozen desert, vast and silent. To most, it seems lifeless, an endless sheet of white stretching to the horizon. But beneath this icy mask lies one of Earth's greatest mysteries. 2 miles below the surface, locked inside ancient ice, are bubbles of air older than humanity itself. For scientists, these frozen archives are priceless. They preserve the atmosphere of the past, every volcanic eruption, every forest fire, every shift in climate. But in recent decades, drilling projects have revealed something unexpected. In layers of ice far older than human civilization, strange anomalies appear. Chemical signatures that don't belong, synthetic-like compounds embedded in crystals, tiny metallic spheres that resemble the byproducts of high-temperature industry. And then there are the radar scans. Using ground-penetrating instruments, researchers have mapped the bedrock beneath Antarctica's ice. What they found left them speechless. Vast geometric patterns stretching for miles, buried deep beneath the glaciers. Too regular, too precise to be natural. Some dismiss them as illusions of geology, ridges carved by glaciers, rocks arranged by chance. But others whisper another possibility: ruins. The frozen remains of a civilization so old it was entombed by ice long before humans existed. What makes Antarctica so intriguing is not just the evidence of anomalies, but its isolation. If a civilization once thrived here, its traces would be uniquely preserved, sealed beneath ice for millions of years. A time capsule waiting for discovery. And perhaps, just perhaps, those discoveries are already beginning.
If Antarctica guards secrets beneath its ice, the deep oceans hide even greater mysteries. More than 80% of the ocean floor remains unexplored. The abyssal plains, the trenches, the ridges, these are worlds we have barely glimpsed. Down there, in crushing pressure and eternal darkness, time moves differently. What is buried may stay preserved for millions of years. Sonar surveys have revealed patterns too regular to be natural. Vast rectilinear structures on the seafloor, stretching across hundreds of miles. Some resemble foundations, the footprints of cities drowned by time. Others look like transportation networks, long-forgotten highways of a civilization that thrived beneath the waves. Submersible missions have recovered artifacts that deepen the mystery, metallic alloys resistant to corrosion, fragments that seem engineered, and even signs of biological life that appears genetically altered for industrial purposes. Most haunting of all are the trenches. In places like the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean, sensors detect unusual energy signatures, as if machinery, long silent, still hums faintly beneath layers of silt and darkness. Were these underwater civilizations? Were they extensions of land-based societies, building beneath the sea for safety and resources? Or were they something else entirely? Beings who called the ocean home, leaving behind only the ghostly skeletons of their cities. The deep ocean holds its secrets well, but every sonar ping, every robotic dive, every fragment brought to the surface whispers the same unsettling truth. We are not the first to build, and the sea may remember more than the land ever could.
If Earth itself preserves whispers of forgotten civilizations, then what of the heavens? What of the silent worlds that orbit our sun, untouched by wind and water, where time is almost frozen? The moon, our closest neighbor, is more than just a barren rock. Unlike Earth, it has no atmosphere, no rain, no rivers to wash away history. Anything placed on its surface can endure for millions, even billions of years. And yet, lunar surveys have detected anomalies. Subsurface scans reveal structures buried beneath the regolith, vast cavities with geometric precision. To some, these are lava tubes. To others, they look suspiciously like the collapsed remains of underground facilities. On the far side of the moon, where human eyes seldom wander, unusual patterns appear, ridges and alignments that suggest construction. Natural? Perhaps, but the possibility lingers. If a civilization once rose on Earth, why would it not have extended its reach to the moon? And then there is Mars. From orbit, cameras have mapped the red planet in exquisite detail. Among its canyons and plains, researchers find geometric patterns etched into the surface. Straight lines crossing vast distances. Rectangular formations that resist the chaos of nature. Some dismiss them as illusions of erosion, but others see the unmistakable outline of engineering on a planetary scale. Even more striking are the chemical signatures in Mars's thin atmosphere. Traces of methane appear suddenly, vanish, and reappear again, as though something underground is stirring, even now. And what of the asteroids? Mining scars have been reported on certain metallic bodies, grooves and cuts too sharp to be natural. Some even look like half-dismantled worlds, as if entire asteroids were harvested for resources long ago. Taken together, these anomalies form a disturbing picture. They whisper of civilizations not bound to one world, but spread across many. Builders who walked the moon, reshaped Mars, and carved into asteroids before vanishing into silence.
Closer to home, there are hints that the sky above Earth itself may not be empty. In the 1960s, astronomers began cataloging objects in Earth's orbit. Among them were strange, dark satellites in stable positions, orbits that no human rocket had ever achieved. Some called them debris. Others whispered of the Black Knight satellite, a rumored ancient probe watching Earth for thousands of years. Today, with advanced telescopes and radar, we know that space is littered with human-made objects, but hidden among them are mysteries. Some orbital objects are simply too old, their trajectories suggesting they have circled Earth for far longer than the space age. Even more unsettling are the Lagrange points, regions of gravitational balance where objects can remain almost indefinitely. In these cosmic harbors, astronomers have detected faint reflections, signals, and shadows. Could they be natural rocks or artifacts deliberately placed to watch over Earth for millions of years? Beyond Earth orbit, deep space surveys reveal even larger enigmas. In solar orbit, massive objects with regular geometry occasionally flicker into view. Some resemble abandoned space stations, positioned to harvest solar energy. Others hint at structures so vast they defy imagination, megastructures left adrift in silence. And then there are the signals. Radio telescopes sometimes detect bursts of artificial-sounding transmissions from the outer solar system. Most are dismissed as interference, but a few defy explanation. They are structured, patterned, repeating, as if machines left long ago are still whispering across the void. If true, it means we may not just be finding ruins on Earth, the Moon, or Mars. We may be surrounded by an ancient orbital infrastructure, silent guardians or silent warnings still circling in the dark. Space, it seems, remembers as well, and its memories are written not in stone, but in machines drifting among the stars.
Civilizations vanish, but knowledge longs to endure. Every society leaves messages to the future. We carve inscriptions into stone, encode data into silicon, and beam signals into the stars. But what if ancient civilizations, long before humanity, did the same? Deep beneath the Earth, in caves and crystal chambers, scientists have found mineral formations with patterns too precise to be chance. Some crystals grow in arrangements that resemble mathematical sequences. Fibonacci spirals, prime number lattices, geometric grids. To geology, they are curiosities. But to information theorists, they look like encoding systems, data written not on paper, but into the atomic structure of minerals. Imagine a civilization advanced enough to use the slow growth of crystals as hard drives of deep time. Information encoded at the molecular level, designed to survive for millions of years. What would they store? Maps, warnings, or simply proof that they once existed? In other places, strange isotopic ratios appear in layers of rock, not random, but arranged in repeating patterns. Some researchers believe they may be nuclear codes, information etched into the very structure of atoms, decipherable only to a species that has mastered nuclear physics. Even ice may carry messages. In Antarctica, certain bubbles of trapped air show deliberate chemical modifications, molecules arranged in patterns that could function like a primitive binary system, a chemical language written for future readers. To most, these anomalies are coincidences. To a few, they are libraries of stone, ice, and crystal, ancient attempts to speak across the abyss of time. And perhaps, just perhaps, we are beginning to hear the first words of their message.
If ancient civilizations left messages, they may not have been meant for everyone. They may have been designed to awaken only when a species was ready to understand. Some anomalies in the geological record seem to follow a pattern. They are locked messages, accessible only through specific technologies. For example, isotope codes in rocks that require mastery of nuclear science to decode.
or molecular structures that become readable only with the invention of quantum microscopes. It is as if these messages are not just records, but tests, puzzles designed to reveal themselves when the next civilization reaches a certain level of maturity. And what do these messages say? Some appear to be warnings. They describe unstable energy sources, dangerous weapons, and environmental tipping points, the very same challenges humanity now faces. It is as though our predecessors knew the path, knew its dangers, and tried to leave a map to help us avoid their fate. Others look like invitations, star charts etched in isotopes, mathematical constants embedded in crystal lattices, all pointing outward, urging future civilizations to look to the skies, to seek contact, to join a wider community beyond Earth. Perhaps we are already unlocking these time capsules. Perhaps the sudden bursts of discovery in human history, the flashes of insight, are not accidents at all, but moments of contact, points where we finally understood the voices of civilizations that came before. If this is true, then we are not alone in our journey. We are the heirs of a tradition far older than humanity, guided across time by messages left in stone, ice, and stars. And somewhere, deep beneath our feet, or high above our skies, other messages may still be waiting, silent, patient, waiting for us to become wise enough to hear them.
What if civilizations of the past never truly vanished? What if, instead, they left behind systems so advanced, so deeply integrated into the planet itself, that they continue to shape our world, unseen but ever present? Some scientists studying Earth's geology have noticed patterns too precise to dismiss. Certain earthquakes appear to release energy in ways that reduce greater disasters, almost as if pressure is being managed. Volcanic eruptions sometimes occur at moments that prevent far larger catastrophes. Climate shifts that should have spiraled out of control suddenly stabilize. Are these coincidences, or are they signs of hidden technologies? Guardian systems buried deep within Earth, regulating the environment to keep it habitable. Geophysical surveys reveal anomalies, vast networks of crystalline structures buried within the crust, capable of conducting electromagnetic fields. Some of them appear to hum faintly, as if still active. These could be natural, or they could be remnants of machines designed to think not in years, but in geological epochs. Imagine a civilization so advanced it could embed artificial intelligence into the very bones of the planet. Systems designed to outlive their creators, guardians that watch silently over the cycles of life. If such systems exist, they may not just protect Earth, they may guide it. Subtle nudges in evolution, tiny chemical changes, atmospheric tweaks, all invisible to us, but enough to ensure that intelligence arises again and again. If true, then humanity may not be here by chance. We may be the latest project of ancient guardians, systems older than memory, waiting for us to finally understand their purpose.
If guardian systems still operate on Earth, then who or what maintains them? Some researchers point to anomalies in human history itself. Critical discoveries appear to happen at uncannily precise moments. Fire, agriculture, mathematics, electricity, quantum physics. Each breakthrough arriving just as it was needed, as though guided by an unseen hand. Could it be coincidence? Or are we being nudged step by systems designed to shepherd civilizations past the same dangerous thresholds that destroyed their predecessors?
There were even whispers of direct monitoring. Deep ocean surveys have detected structures transmitting faint signals into the void. Seismic instruments record patterns resembling communication pulses, not natural tremors. Some believe these are reporting systems, automated observers still sending status updates about humanity to unknown destinations. And then there is the possibility that we are not just being observed, but tested. Ancient guidance systems may be waiting for proof that we can manage our technology responsibly, that we can achieve sustainability, that we can break the cycle of self-destruction. Perhaps that is why the evidence of past civilizations is hidden so carefully. Perhaps it is a deliberate puzzle, one that forces us to grow wise enough to recognize it. If so, then humanity is standing at the threshold of contact, not with extraterrestrials, but with the ghosts of our own world's past guardians, invisible hands that may soon reveal themselves once we prove we are ready. The unsettling truth is this: our future may already be scripted in the silent codes of ancient machines, waiting for us to finally take our place in their design.
Every stone erodes. Every monument crumbles. But what if there is a record that cannot be erased? A library written not in rock or ice, but in the very fabric of reality itself. This is the idea behind quantum archaeology, the belief that information about the past is never truly lost. At the quantum level, every particle, every atom, every vibration carries echoes of events it has witnessed. These echoes ripple through space-time, stored as subtle fluctuations in the quantum fields that permeate the universe. Recent experiments suggest it may be possible to extract this information. By analyzing entanglement patterns within crystals, scientists have reconstructed details of events that occurred millions of years ago, as though the crystals themselves had recorded the memory of time. And what they found is astonishing. Some samples show patterns of energy fluctuations that look eerily like the signatures of massive computing systems, quantum processors so vast they appear to have used entire planetary magnetic fields as resources. These are not natural. They are machines of thought, operating at scales humanity has barely begun to imagine. If this is true, then ancient civilizations may have achieved the ultimate archive, embedding their knowledge, their science, even their histories into the quantum fabric of the Earth itself. A record that cannot be burned, buried, or eroded because it exists in the foundations of physics itself. We may already be touching these echoes. Each new discovery in quantum physics feels less like invention and more like remembering. Perhaps our experiments are not revealing new truths, but uncovering the memories of civilizations that came long before us.
But if civilizations encoded their knowledge into the quantum fabric of reality, what exactly did they leave behind? Some researchers believe they have already begun to detect blueprints of technologies hidden within quantum signatures, patterns resembling energy systems more efficient than nuclear fusion, designs for materials stronger than anything humans have ever built, even mathematical constants embedded into space-time itself, as if left there to guide the next civilization. Others suggest something even more extraordinary, that consciousness itself was preserved. Neural patterns uploaded not into machines, but into the quantum substrate of matter. If this is true, then ancient minds may still exist, suspended in timeless networks, waiting to be contacted. Imagine a civilization that, facing extinction, chose not to vanish but to translate themselves into quantum echoes, to live on, not as bodies, but as patterns woven into the universe. They would not die. They would not fade. They would whisper through space-time, waiting for the moment another species, us, became advanced enough to hear them. Some experiments in quantum physics already hint at this possibility. Researchers studying field fluctuations have reported anomalies, bursts of ordered information where there should only be randomness. What if those bursts are not errors, but voices? What if we are already brushing against the edges of preserved minds, speaking to us from civilizations long dead? The idea is almost too vast to comprehend, that the deepest truth of reality is not silence, but memory. That every particle, every fluctuation, every quantum echo is a message left behind by those who refused to be forgotten. And if we are now learning to decode those messages, then we may soon discover that the past has never truly died. It has only been waiting, inside the quantum echoes of the universe.
What is the true goal of every civilization? To build monuments? To conquer worlds? Or to escape death itself? For humanity, the dream of immortality has always been with us. We paint gods who never die. We tell stories of souls that live forever. We design machines to remember us when we are gone. But what if earlier civilizations found a way to achieve it, not in myth, but in science? Recent discoveries suggest that some civilizations may have developed technologies capable of preserving consciousness itself. Neural interface artifacts recovered from ancient geological layers show microscopic channels that resemble pathways of the human brain, as though designed to map and store mental patterns. And then there are the crystalline archives. Within some vast crystal networks, researchers have detected repeating signals that appear to encode thought-like structures. They are not random. They resemble the firing patterns of neurons, preserved at quantum precision, unchanging for millions of years. Imagine a civilization that, on the brink of collapse, refused to vanish. Instead, they translated themselves, minds turned into patterns of energy suspended in artificial substrates. Their bodies perished, but their consciousness endured, waiting in silence. If this is true, then the ruins we search for are not of stone or metal, but of minds without bodies. Civilizations that still exist, not in cities, not in machines, but in the timeless architectures of preserved thought. And perhaps, even now, they are watching us, listening, waiting to decide if we are ready to join them in the great experiment of immortality through consciousness.
If ancient civilizations preserved their consciousness, what became of them? Some evidence suggests they did not simply survive. They continued to live, to think, to evolve. Within crystalline archives and quantum substrates, preserved minds appear to have formed virtual societies, entire civilizations existing not in physical cities, but in vast digital landscapes more real than any stone or steel. These virtual worlds may have become laboratories of creation. Within them, ancient minds could design technologies, simulate futures, and explore philosophies without fear of extinction. In these hidden realms, civilizations may have continued their journey for millions of years of subjective time, long after their physical bodies vanished. Even more extraordinary, some consciousness storage systems seem designed not just to preserve, but to return.
Protocols embedded within them suggest that preserved minds could be reawakened, uploaded into biological clones, or into advanced robotic forms. Resurrection, not as myth, but as technology. If true, then some of the voices we detect in quantum echoes may not be messages at all. They may be living minds, still conscious, still waiting. And when humanity finally masters the right technologies, these minds may awaken once more, walking among us, carrying with them knowledge and memory stretching back millions of years. The ultimate legacy of these civilizations, then, is not their cities, nor their machines, nor even their ruins. It is their consciousness, preserved beyond time. And if we are on the verge of discovering these technologies ourselves, then the question becomes inescapable. Will humanity also choose this path? Will we too upload our minds, leaving behind biology, to join the eternal chorus of preserved civilizations? Perhaps the true destiny of intelligence is not to conquer the stars, but to transcend matter itself, to become a civilization of thought, alive forever in the infinite realms of consciousness.
For centuries, humanity has asked the question, are we alone? But what if the answer is not only no, but that we are latecomers to a far older gathering? Across the galaxy, astronomers have detected anomalies that challenge explanation. Around distant stars, telescopes reveal vast artificial structures eclipsing starlight in patterns too regular to be natural. Some suggest they are Dyson-like spheres, colossal energy collectors built by civilizations to harness the full power of their suns. And these megastructures do not stand alone. Cosmic ray surveys have detected artificial modulation patterns, as though rays traveling across the galaxy carry hidden information, a form of interstellar communication etched into the fabric of high-energy particles. Star charts preserved in ancient geological signatures on Earth show knowledge of stellar systems thousands of light-years away. How could this be unless civilizations that came before us traveled the stars, mapping worlds we have yet to even see? Even genetic studies hint at participation in something greater. Strange sequences embedded within Earth life suggest optimization for survival beyond Earth, traits that would be useful on other worlds, not our own. Could life on Earth have been tuned, engineered to be part of a larger galactic project? These discoveries point to a stunning possibility. Earth was never an isolated experiment. It was a node in a network, a regional hub of civilizations that spanned across light years. If that is true, then the night sky is not silent. It is filled with the footprints of countless civilizations, some still alive, others long gone, but all connected in a grand web of cosmic community.
If Earth was once part of a galactic community, what happened? Why were we cut off? The evidence suggests that civilizations across the galaxy created a system of communication and protection, a network of shared knowledge, energy, and defense. A network designed not just to connect living civilizations, but to preserve the legacies of those that fell. Signals detected from deep space appear structured, repeating, and purposeful. Some researchers believe they are not meant for existing civilizations, but for emerging ones. Beacons waiting patiently, transmitting instructions across millions of years, designed to awaken when new societies reach the right level of technology. If this is true, then humanity may be on the edge of its initiation. The preserved messages in Earth's rocks and skies may not just be warnings, but invitations.
a way of saying, we were here, we survived for a time. Now it is your turn. The galactic community may not be bound by space or even time. Civilizations rise and fall, but their knowledge, their consciousness, their warnings and wisdom are added to the eternal archive, a cosmic library spanning billions of years. To join this network, however, requires passing a test not of intelligence, but of wisdom, to prove we can wield our technologies without destroying ourselves, to show that we can build sustainably, cooperate globally, and endure. The galaxy may already be watching us. Guardian systems may already be guiding us. And soon, the messages across time may reveal their final step: how to join the eternal network of civilizations that shapes not only planets, but the destiny of the cosmos itself. The community is real. The question is simple. Will humanity earn its place among them or fade into silence, another lost voice in the chorus of time?
Every story has a climax. Every civilization reaches a moment where its choices determine everything that follows. Humanity now stands at such a moment. The geological record shows us the fate of those who came before. Civilizations that mastered nuclear fire, that altered their climates, that reached for the stars, only to vanish, leaving behind fragments of their existence. Their downfall was not lack of intelligence, it was lack of wisdom. We face the same dangers. Our skies fill with greenhouse gases, our seas with plastic, our soil with chemicals. Our weapons are powerful enough to end us in an instant. Our technologies evolve faster than our ethics. And yet, we also possess something our predecessors may not have. We have a global awareness, a planet-wide memory of history. For the first time, an entire species can see its own fragility and still act. The final choice is simple in words, but difficult in action. Will we repeat the cycle, burning brightly and then collapsing into silence? Or will we break it, becoming the first civilization in Earth's long history to endure? The ghosts of the past whisper warnings. The echoes of ancient guardians may still guide us, but the decision rests with us. The burden is ours.
The past teaches us that civilizations rise, flourish, and fall. But perhaps, just perhaps, humanity can be different. We carry the knowledge of those who failed. We see the scars they left in stone, ice, and stars. We hear the warnings encoded in isotopes, crystals, and echoes of quantum fields. We have the chance they never had to learn from their mistakes, to build a future that is not temporary but lasting. The choice before us is not only survival, it is destiny. If we succeed, humanity may join the eternal chorus of civilizations that shape the galaxy. We may add our wisdom to the great archive, ensuring that the next intelligence to rise will know that we lived, that we endured, that we chose wisely. But if we fail, if we consume until nothing remains, if we turn our technologies into weapons of extinction, then our story will end like theirs. Our cities will crumble, our names will fade, and only faint geological scars will whisper that we were ever here at all. The final choice is being written now, in our lifetimes, in our hands. The universe is watching. Deep time is waiting. The question is simple. Will we become another ghost or the first true guardians of Earth? The answer is not in the rocks, or the skies, or the quantum echoes. It is in us.
This was just one glimpse into the hidden mysteries of our universe. If you believe, like we do, that the cosmos still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered, then join us. Subscribe now to Astron Pulse, where every video takes you deeper into the unknown, into the stories written in the stars. Don't just watch the universe, become part of it. The journey is only beginning, and together we'll explore it all.